We press the record button. Should have a bright red dot in the left-hand corner. Okay, so I will launch into my intro and then be over to you. So, good morning, everybody. I'm Alex Turner from thebusinessdesk.com, and thank you for joining the latest session this morning at Invest Midlands, where I'm in conversation with Sir John Peace, Chairman of the Midlands Engine. For those of you who don't know Sir John, he's had a long and distinguished business career covering the technology, financial services and retail sectors. He's founder, chairman and chief executive of Experian, chief executive of Gus, more recently chairman of Standard Chartered and Burberry PLC, and he's currently chairman of Octo Telematics. But I'm speaking to Sir John this morning in his role as Midlands Engine Chair. So, Sir John, if I could start by asking you, how would you assess the impacts of the pandemic on the Midlands economy, particularly in regard to investment and productivity?
Well, good morning, Alex, and good morning to everyone. And I think we all know that the Midlands has been one of the hardest hit parts of the UK economy. That's both the West Midlands and the East Midlands. And the impact has been exacerbated by the impact of leaving the EU. For those things to coincide at the same time has made it incredibly difficult and created uncertainties for many of our businesses.
And I mean, the last year has been difficult in all sorts of ways, but there has been examples of innovation and opportunity. What has stood out for you in the past year? Has anything impressed you in particular?
Well, Alex, it would be very easy to go through this interview with you and be very negative. We have to remember that very few people in our region, their lives, their livelihoods have been impacted very severely by COVID. And almost a fifth of everyone in the UK that sadly lost their life came from the Midlands. So I'm very mindful of that. But, at the same time, I've been hugely impressed by the resilience and the determination shown by our people and by our businesses. And recently, Alex, I've met with a number of business leaders from right across the region, listening to them, their views on this, what we have to do next in this economic recovery. And you'll know as well as most people that different sectors have been impacted in different ways, and some sectors like tourism, hospitality, aviation, they've been desperately impacted by the pandemic, and it's not over yet. Other sectors have thrived. They've done very well. Our technology sector, healthcare, medtech, these are success stories which we can all look to the future and celebrate. But I think right now, what's impressed me more than anything else, and the media no doubt would refer to it as confidence. When I talked to these business leaders, I saw it as something else. It was determination. There was a steely determination there by people in the Midlands to get back to normal, get their lives back to something close to the way they were in 2019 before the pandemic. But more importantly, as business leaders, they wanted to grow back better, stronger and greener.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's really stood out for me is that sense of business community in the Midlands and the levels of collaboration, both across sectors and within sectors. The levels of support to help everybody try and get through the challenges of the last year. I thought that was a real strength that I've seen. Taking that longer view as we hopefully transition out of the pandemic and learn to work with that. What do you see as the real strengths and opportunities within the Midlands for the long term?
Well, I think there are many opportunities looking to the future, Alex, and like you, I think I am optimistic, and I know there's a steely determination there to succeed. But you made a very important observation there, and this is the way that our businesses, large and small, not just the big corporates, but the SMEs as well, have grasped the situation by the scruff of the neck and dealt with it. They've dealt with it in a way which uses innovation and enterprise, sometimes changing their entire business models to reshape their business. And I think to me, it's no accident that the first industrial revolution started right here in the Midlands, because I'm absolutely certain this next technology revolution, the green carbon, zero carbon revolution, this is the heart of it here in Britain, here in the Midlands. And that's what makes me excited and feel very confident about the best is yet to come.
Yes, and later on today, we've got some great speakers on that subject. Rolls-Royce on an all-electric aircraft, One, who are looking to develop an airport for electric vehicles in Coventry, and lots of other businesses that are very mindful of the sustainability agenda. What do you think, Sir John, makes the Midlands such a great place for companies to invest in?
Well, I think many of the things we're talking about, Alex, are investment ready, and that's important. We have great universities, we have a great workforce, and we have an opportunity here with the new technology that's coming along to lead the way, not just in the UK, but I think globally. We may still, in relative terms, be a small country by population. We still have one of the biggest economies in the world. And I would argue when it comes to enterprise and innovation, we probably are right up there in the top 3 or 4. And so I think that's going to put us in good stead as we look to the future. But if I may, Alex, what I've done, I've tried to pick out, and it's very hard to do this, a few facts for you about some of the great things that are happening here in the Midlands, some of the things that I think gives me confidence anyway, that once we're through this awful pandemic, once the economic recovery is underway in full swing, and I think it's already started, these are some of the things that I think are going to power our success going forward. So I've already commented that I think the Midlands is one of the most important locations for green growth in this country. And I should point out, and you may know this already, but 1 in 4 energy and low carbon jobs in England are already based here in the Midlands. And this sector is worth over 26 billion to the region. The region is home to nationally and internationally leading projects, assets and research in low carbon transport, fuel, heating and energy. The Midlands is leading the way in renewable energy production, home to the world's biggest offshore wind farm in Lincolnshire, providing 18% of England's renewables capacity. 75 million is being invested by government in the Able Marine Energy Park project, which is a port facility for offshore wind in North Lincolnshire. By 2022, the Midlands will be supplying enough green energy from wind to 1.3 million homes in the UK. And the Midlands, as we know, is the home of the UK's automotive industry, which is now accelerating the transition to net zero transport. Toyota, Jaguar, Land Rover, Aston Martin are driving the production of electric vehicles and battery technologies. And I saw it this morning, I found it fascinating that we're soon going to be able to recharge our new generation of batteries in 5 minutes. Wow, that will make a difference. So the Midlands, the UK's original industrial powerhouse, is right now, I believe, taking pioneering steps to lead the UK in the new green industrial revolution. Through the Midlands Engine Partnership and 10-point plan for green growth, you'll see more of that in the coming months. And you've got some great speakers today following me, some following me. They're going to tell you more about these sectors, which I think for the Midlands are a very exciting future for us, including health and life sciences and medtech and so on.
And I know an awful lot of work goes on behind the scenes before we get to policy announcements or investment decisions. So it'd be worth, John, if you just capture, what role does the Midlands Engine play in making this all happen?
Well, many of the things we talk about often need organizations and people to be pulled together through collaboration, through working together, to drive a strategy which is pan-regional. Good example of that is infrastructure in our roads and railways. So we have this organization called Midlands Connect, which works with government to plan that very carefully. It's a thought leader in many ways. And I think one of the things the engine can do, it's a neutral, apolitical vehicle that enables both local government and national government, our universities and businesses to come together and focus on opportunities and actually get things done more quickly. That's the role of the engine. And you know, again, Alex, one of the things that struck me a few years ago when I took on this role is how little sound information there was about trends, social trends, as well as financial trends in the region. And that's why we created the Midlands Engine Observatory, which today provides all its partners and government with very sound evidence and information on many of these underlying trends and where indeed to focus the investment for the future.
Thank you for that. And yeah, I know there's an awful lot of great work comes out of the observatory and the team at the engine in driving the broad economy of our region forward. But unfortunately, that's all we've got time for this morning. To John, thank you very much for joining us. Actually, your team from the Midlands Engine are about to get underway with a great session focusing on the health and life sciences sector. So do jump over into that. And there is also the Midlands Engine team on hand today. So do make sure you speak to them either in the expo area or in the networking area throughout the rest of Invest Midlands. That's all for this session. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day at the conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Let me just stop the recording.